Hi everyone, Mark from Lender Price here to talk to you about some of the features in our NAMB marketplace. Today we're going to talk to you about the borrower workflow and what the borrower sees and experiences after you select a program and send an application off to them. So as we mentioned in one of our previous sessions, once you've found the rate you're looking for, you can select that program and a modal will appear that will allow you to enter the borrower's name, phone number, and email address. You can send that invitation off to the borrower right at that moment, or you can click OK and put that loan in your pipeline. Once it's in your pipeline, you'll be able to send that off to the borrower at a later time. Either way, when you send that invitation out to the borrower, they're going to get an email from you that looks a lot like this. And that email contains your contact information in terms of how to reach out to you if they need any help. All the borrower needs to do is click the button to start their application now, and that'll take them right into the borrower workflow. So the borrower is going to land on a welcome screen where they're going to create their own username and password. They'll be able to adjust the spelling of their first and last name, and of course they can see the details for contacting you, the loan officer, in the upper right-hand corner at all times. So moving on to the application, the borrower is just going to tell us about the subject property, what the purpose of the loan is, whether they're a first-time home buyer or not, and then, of course, how they're going to use this property, occupancy purposes. They'll then move on to tell us a little bit more about the property, what the type of property is, whether or not they've identified a specific property, and if they have, what is that address. If not, they can simply enter the zip code, and that will give us the appropriate zip code for the property. Next, they're led to the borrower information section where they enter their social security number, their date of birth, validate their name, and the number of years in school. They'll tell us how many dependents they have and the ages, if there are any, and then identify their preferred contact method. The borrower is asked their marital status and then their status as a veteran, and then they'll move on to tell us more about their current property address and their mailing address. So where do you live? Do you rent or do you own? And whether or not the address matches the mailing address. As a standard, they're asked 2 years of residential history and obviously what their rent is if they're renting. We move on and ask the borrower if they'd like to add a co-borrower. So if so, they're going to be asked to enter some basic information about that co-borrower and then be prompted in each of the subsequent asset, income, and declaration sections to enter information about the co-borrower there as well. So let's proceed with no co-borrower. The next section would be assets. The borrower is going to enter information about their assets, whether that's checking, savings, bonds, stocks, what have you. They're going to put all of that information in there and then be able to see a summary of all the information that they've entered above. When they're done entering their financial assets, we'll be asking them about any other property that they own. So when they click next, we ask, do you own any other property? If they indicate yes, we give them an opportunity to tell us about that property, what its disposition type is, the property type, and any outstanding mortgage balances or payments on that home. From there, the user is able simply to save that property. They'll see it load on a map with its geolocation, and they can move on to the next step. The next step in the workflow is employment and income. So the user is just going to click on employment. They'll enter their employer information. They can tell us whether or not they're self-employed. So they'll go through, give us details about the employer itself, tell us how long they've been working for that employer, and of course, give us the amount of income that they are actually earning through that employment. Once they're done, they're going to click Save on that employment record, and it's going to show a summary of that income on the screen. In addition, the user is able to go and add either Social Security income, military pay, or other types of income. The user simply selects the income type from the drop-down and adds the dollar amount. So moving on, our next step is a little bit more about the loan information. For a purchase, confirming the purchase price and the loan amount. For a refi, it would confirm whether it was a cash out or not. In our final stage of information gathering in the borrower workflow, we ask the borrower the declaration questions that are standard for a mortgage application. They'll go through and answer yes or no to those as needed. They'll move on and tell us their citizenship, and then answer the HMDA ethnicity questions as well, or opt out of those as applicable. Once the user has completed answering all of the declarations questions for themselves and a co-borrower as needed, they can move on to the final step, which is submitting the loan application back to you, the loan officer. They simply click Submit Inquiry, and that loan application goes off to you. They're redirected to their borrower dashboard, and both the borrower and the loan officer receive a confirmation email that that loan application has been submitted. The borrower is also able to review their borrower dashboard at any time, look at the loan application, see their tasks, and see that they've completed that loan application task. Then go into the loan application and review the details that they entered in the workflow, make sure everything looks fine. They are not able to make any edits to the loan application at this stage because that application has already been passed to you, but they are able to review the details of the loan, readily access the loan officer's contact information, and go into their pipeline and view any other loan applications that they may have active with you at this time. So that's your high-level overview of the borrower loan application and the borrower dashboard. Thanks for your time today. Watch out for more coming videos with tips on how to use this great tool to your advantage. And in the meantime, we hope you really enjoy using the NAMB Marketplace. Have a great day.